Hey, thank you for coming to my show. I think you'll hear something today that makes you click that like button, share with your people, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Let's stay connected. Tell me what you think in the comments. Welcome, Olivia. Welcome. Thank you for time to come on my show. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.
You're very welcome. How I like to start every show is my first question. Who are you?
Well, as you've already said, my name is Olivia Ohlson. I'm a junior at Evanston Township High School, and I'm a community activist and very engaged in community service and like the youth world and how different decisions affect youth. And so I'm someone who's trying to make a difference in our community through multiple outlets. And I love art and service, and I love meeting new people. So I'm really excited to get to know you more and be on your show.
What unique perspective do you bring to your work, Black woman?
So I think some of the work that I do kind of stemmed from my identity and also is like greatly affected by my identity, especially my work in golf. Since like the main idea of my program Diversify Golf is to get more girls and kids of color into golf, my identity as a Black female is like the catalyst for my project. When I started playing golf, I noticed that there were so few people of color that played, especially young people of color, and also that there are so few girls. And as I started to play golf in high school, it became less so. Like there became less people of color the more years that I was playing. And also, like at ETHS, for example, our girls' golf team is about 25 people with no cuts. And the boys' team is quite a bit larger and they have to cut because there are so many boys interested in playing. And so that's just a testament to like the disparity between men and women in the game of golf. And that's something that I wanted to try and change. And part of that is that I think there are other people out there who want to make that change, but so few of us identify with the people we're trying to get into the game. And so I think part of it is me being a Black woman trying to teach other Black women how to play the game. And so that we build like connections faster because of that. And golf is a space that can be intimidating. So seeing me and some of my friends that I bring with me to teach golf, teammates who are fellow women or other people of color coming to help. I think it makes it easier, like a softer landing than I had when I started playing golf. So that's definitely key. And then with my other work, I think that so often Black people as a whole and Black women aren't thought of as doing as much good in their communities. I think we're always highlighted for the negative that we do. But in all honesty, in the work that I do, I've met so many amazing women of color and people of color who are really making a vast difference at a young age and being a positive inspiration rather than the negative that we so often see.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things you did that I really enjoyed and it touched me was you on your YouTube channel, you would do math problems and you would read books for students who couldn't make it to class and didn't have uh, have an internet, but they had the YouTube, access to YouTube from their phone. What gave you that idea, and how successful was that? How did you react?
Yeah, so honestly, I forgot those videos were still up there. I only did a few of them and it was during COVID. I did some reading of different books and then also did like math, like you said. I've always really loved math and science and reading, to be honest. And so when COVID hit, this was actually before I started my hygiene kits project or my golf project. Um, I was kind of like at home without anything to do, and my mom was active in Facebook groups that are for like D65 parents, which is our local school district, D65 parents, and just like parents in the area. And so many people were complaining about e-learning and how difficult it was for their children to learn. And also that a lot of like certain families with more privilege can hire a tutor to work with a child while they have e-learning, while others may not be able to afford that or just simply not have access to it. So I wanted to kind of do some YouTube videos to make it easier for like difficult concepts, like adding fractions or understanding fractions and things like that, basic multiplication, and then just reading to kids so that like their parents could put them on a screen and know that they're like learning something, and so that parents can get a break too. So that was kind of like the idea behind it. I also did digital tutoring for free during COVID. So from about a month or two after the lockdown and like our schools all closed, I started doing Zoom tutoring for about 4 students. And I did that for about a year until schools started to open back up. And so I basically worked with kids between kindergarten and 6th grade on any topic that they needed help with, whatever they felt like they needed the most work on.
The other thing I forgot to mention as well is I believe, did you have a 4.35?
Yes.
Yeah.
Weighted, yeah.
And so that obviously gave you the credentials to help students. Did you become sort of a rock star after that or no?
Oh, you mean like with the videos?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I'm sure they probably all have less than 50 views, but it's a thought that counts. So
Sure enough. Most definitely. Most definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, that was during the pandemic. So you were in 8th grade, is that correct?
Yeah. So when lockdown first started, I was at the end of 7th and I stayed home all through 8th grade. Like some kids went back, but I didn't. So
Yeah.
I went back to school to start high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some critical needs you see within the Black community positioned to address?
That I'm positioned to address?
That women are uniquely positioned to address.
Got it. So I think one of the major issues right now, especially in Evanston specifically, is affordable housing. I think that nobody really understands that, like women, because they're mothers, they're breadwinners, and they understand just how important it is to have a safe place for their kids to grow up and somewhere that's affordable. A lot of people grew up here and want to stay here, but it's difficult. And then I think also just like a lack of unity in our community. I especially see with like a lot of youth and like in social media and stuff where people just don't have anything positive to say. It's always about tearing each other down and what have you, and like focusing on our differences. But I think that, I think Black women, either adults or younger women, are uniquely positioned to kind of be that like bridge between different areas of the Black community. I think that women have an innate empathy and understanding for others that is unique to us and that we can use to help unify the community. So
Creative projects or initiatives led by Black women that inspire you?
yeah, I mean, there are a ton. You've actually interviewed some of the people that come to mind, like Chef Hugh and Robin Ruth Simmons. I really admire them and look up to them. I know them personally, and they've been great mentors in person, but also just like watching their work on TV and in the news. But yeah, I'm also really inspired by a lot of female athletes because I love sports. So the Angel Reeses and Serena Williamses of the world are great inspirations to me as well.
Yeah. As a Black woman, what would you say your greatest superpower is?
I would say I think that it is like it's the crossing over of two marginalized identities that make Black women special. I think it can be said about most women of color, but I think for us it's unique, like it is for each other race. It's unique as well. I think that the fact that we can understand being marginalized for gender and race allows us to like understand the differences between race and gender, and then also be able to unify those two communities. I think historically we've had to fight harder than a lot of other groups, and I think that gives us like some of our foremothers' strengths. And so I think that we're just some of the most powerful people on earth. So
I feel like do you feel like Black women are gaining more respect, or are they losing respect from
I think it's kind of a mix. I think in a lot of ways Black women are gaining respect. I think especially like in the workplace and like in positions of power, we're seeing a lot more Black women there. We're kind of getting to, we have Kamala Harris as our VP right now, and just more women in government and more women as CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and things like that. But I think more for the everyday woman, we're getting more power too. I think that, I've seen a lot of examples of Black men coming to support us, or like partnering on ventures or ideas or nonprofits. I think also that sometimes when you look at media, you think like we're not, just because so often people want to focus on like the negative or putting Black women down in favor of other groups. But I think that like if you're out in the community, I don't think you feel that as much. I feel like it's something that people kind of try to brainwash us with, but I don't think it's true.
Yeah, it's one of those who know, right? They can't sway you any other way.
Yeah.
What resources do you wish were more readily available to Black women who want to make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, money. I mean, this is, it's the root of all evil, but it's a useful tool. It's really hard to get a nonprofit or idea off the ground without having enough money to not only get the ball rolling, but if you make a misstep, to be able to take that second, third, fourth chance that a lot of us aren't afforded because we aren't born with the privilege that allows us to do that. So I think that, getting larger corporations to support small businesses and nonprofits and help get them off the ground is a kind of resource that we need. I think a lot of people are working in the mentorship space right now and mentoring young women, like youth, but also young women who are stepping out to be professionals. And I think that really helps. I think that's part of why I do Diversify Golf, is that I try to be that mentor to other young girls who want to play golf in the high school or college arena. And I think that just like as a larger community, mentoring each other is always a good place to start. But I think that we also need the financial backing to be able to make things happen. So,
Yeah, so true. It's interesting. I listened to a podcast of entrepreneurs trying to get money from venture capitalists, and one of the wildest things is only like 1% of entrepreneurs of color, or it's like less than 5%, definitely less than 5% of entrepreneurs of color that actually get funded. So to your point, it is a problem. It is a problem that hopefully we can overcome one day. How can Black men in the community be better allies to the women nourishing the Black community?
Yeah, I think what you're doing is a great idea. I think that like uplifting the voices of Black women and kind of acknowledging like Black women's significance is a good place to start, and our history in helping to uplift the Black community. I think that so often, like part of it with this next generation of young men is that, and like in the Black community and outside of it, is I think a lot of people think that masculinity has to be removed in order for women to have the voice that they deserve. And I feel like that's not true. I feel like both genders can coexist, living in how they want to live and acting how they want to act to a certain extent. I think that part of it is like our history books, especially within the Black community, don't always do the best job of highlighting the significance and the role of Black women in things like the civil rights movement or anti-slavery movements, even up to the Black Lives Matter movement. So I just think that like acknowledging the role of Black women in things as serious as that can help. And I think that also, teaching your sons to respect Black women. Obviously, you don't want to teach them to degrade themselves, but I feel like that's not even a part of the conversation. It's just an adding on. We're not subtracting from any community. We're just adding Black women. We're just building up their pedestal to be equal. So,
to your point of teaching your sons, I have two of them. One's a senior at the high school, and the other one's a fourth grader at Bessie Road.
mm-hmm.
The father, I've learned that every lesson doesn't always come from a vocal standpoint. A lot of the lessons that I teach them come from how I treat their mother. Mm-hmm. And they recognize that. Oldest, when he was growing up, he probably was maybe 5 or 6, and I would always open the door for it. And then, so he started opening it up, for her to walk through. And I thought to myself, okay, every lesson isn't a vocal lesson.
Mm-hmm.
They are always watching and learning. So to your point, teaching your young men, your sons, how to respect women, especially Black women, important. Another inspiration of my show was one of the lyrics from Tupac's "Keep Your Head Up."
Mm-hmm.
And got our name from a woman and got game from a woman. I skipped that next line and said, it's time to heal our women, time to kill for our women. We don't, we'll have a race of babies that hate the ladies that make the babies. And I think we're almost at that juncture. And hopefully we can a full U-turn, because it's going to ruin our society and our world as a whole. How can we assure slow, deep, and irreversible?
Sorry?
How can, and in fact, let me make sure that the work that you're doing is slow, deep, and irreversible?
I'm trying to work on that now. Actually, it's something I think about a lot, because I'll be going to college in about 1.5 years. And so when I'm not here, how will my work continue is kind of my thought right now. With the work that I do with raising money for breast cancer research, it's kind of like an annual thing. So I used to do it more, but now we're kind of on like an annual basis, which is a lot easier to do. Like, I could come home during the summer and do a lemonade stand then, that kind of thing. I'm also kind of getting a little old to do a lemonade stand, but it is what it is. Yeah. I think that with my work with hygiene kits, I also do those at about 4 times a year now. So a lot of times I work with, groups, either schools or lately Evanston Cradle to Career has helped me out with a packing event. I do it more as a community instead of packing on my own, which I did for about the first 1.5 years. So, and then I also do Giving Tuesday, which is the first Tuesday following Thanksgiving every year, the third or fourth Tuesday in November. And I do a community where community members can sign up and just come and help. So with a lot of those, they're on set dates that I could work around when I'm not, living here full time. But with Diversified Golf, I think about that a lot, because that's something that I do. I do it during the summer, but not being here full year would make it pretty hard to do. So I'm trying to figure out who can take over it who can help out with it. And it's difficult because there aren't a lot of Black students who are playing golf at ETHS right now, and I want it to be someone who cares about the game, who is Black. It doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. I would prefer it that way, but you know, it's slim pickings out here, so we'll see. But you know, when I started in the team, there were several other Black girls who played, one of which was our team captain my freshman year. But they've all graduated before me, and so now I'm the only one left. So it's kind of like, you know, there's no one behind me to kind of pass the torch to. So I'm actively trying to figure that out. But yeah.
Now, are you the only Black female on your team?
Yes, as of now, yeah. I
Okay,
don't know what freshmen will be there next year, but
yeah. Are you out recruiting in the middle school?
I'm not, but I do run my programs for middle schoolers. So,
Nice.
and I also go to community events. So, PTA Equity Fest. I'll be back at that again this year. I was at Juneteenth parade last year, but I won't be back because I'll be out of the country during Juneteenth this year. But I go to different community events and set up a putting station. So I talk to people about golf. I let younger kids play with golf clubs. I have golf clubs that go from about age 5 to about age 100. And so anyone can stop by and putt with us and learn about my mission. And so that's how I do outreach to younger students. And then those families a lot of times follow us and get the first updates on when I host open registration clinics. And so I do clinics for 8-year-olds through to high school age. So like I do up to 8th grade or 9th grade. So those are how, you know, middle schoolers get to know me and get to try out the game and stuff like that.
Where do you host the clinics?
So this past year, I hosted 2 open registration clinics. This is part of my work. So in the 2 clinics, I hosted one kind of in the late morning and then one in early afternoon. So kind of back to back. And the earlier one was just for girls, and then the later one was open to all genders, which I do because Black women need a safe space to learn something new and to kind of get to know me and the people I help come and help me teach. And then, but I'm open to everyone. Like I want all people of color to be able to play the game. So gender isn't really it's a huge part of what I do. But I also appreciate that all genders of people of color, we need more of in the game of golf. So I try to invest in our young men as well. And then I also do a series of clinics, like a camp, which I do through a community center. So for the past 2 years, I've done it through Fleetwood, and I've also hosted my clinics through Fleetwood. This year, I'm hosting it at Fleetwood's Field, but I'm working with kids from Family Focus. And I don't have any updates on open registration clinics just yet, but I'm trying to work on it. So we'll see.
And where can people find the information about these things?
So the best way is to follow us on Instagram at Diversify Golf. I'm also on Facebook too, under my name and under my project's names. So yeah, those are the best ways to follow us. Our Instagram is updated daily. I mean, almost hourly, to be honest. And we post other inspirational kids in the area and across the country and globe. And we also post a lot about golf and like different people and what they're doing in the game of golf, advice on golf, and of course what I'm up to. So
yeah, nice. What are your hopes and dreams for the Black community?
My hope is that, well, I have several, but my hopes is that we'll unite behind a common goal. I think a lot of us don't realize just how powerful the Black community is. I think a lot of times, like, because our history in this country is so rooted in oppression, we often don't think about, like, how much we truly can make a difference if we all stick together. And I think that's part of it. I mean, I say this to my friends all the time. Black people aren't a monolith, but I think that we all have something that connects us. And I think focusing on that rather than, I think, respecting and highlighting people's differences, but also like unifying is something that we really need to do. I think that, we need to secure a future for like those who come after us. I think that one of those is helping to secure better living situations for our youth, better education for our youth, and more equitable opportunities in the workplace for our youth, and helping to support each other through that. I think that also encouraging people to vote. I mean, people say this all the time, but encouraging people to vote is so important, especially in our election coming up in November and all future elections, because we as Black people do have a lot of sway in government based on our vote. And I think recognizing that is important. And, obviously all of that goes with education. So that's definitely one of my top things. I educate people about golf, but education in all subjects is just as important. So
yeah. How do you celebrate and accomplishments as a Black woman making a difference in the community?
You said, how do I celebrate my own accomplishments or accomplishments of others?
How do you celebrate your own achievements and contributions as a Black woman making a difference?
Got it. I think I try not to celebrate it too much. I'm proud of myself and the work that I've done, and a lot of my friends don't. Well, my close friends do, but a lot of the people at my school don't know a lot about the work that I do, and I actually prefer it that way. I try not to like brag about myself or talk about the work that I do or force the work that I do on others. I just try to make a difference in our community on my own time. So I would love for others to join me, but that's not like, if you're not there yet, I get it. And, so yeah, my close friends are really supportive, and we talk about that, and they're there for me. They have sometimes come to awards with me. I bring my family with me when I go, so you've met them. I bring my mom and my dad, of course, and then sometimes friends, aunts and uncles, etc. So I mean, they celebrate me. I'm really grateful for my parents. They are excited by everything I get, big and small, and everything that I do. So they keep me grounded, but they also celebrate me, so I'm really appreciative for them.
Yeah, as well you should. Who are some of your role models, whether they be Black women or white women? Who are some of your role models?
I think the obvious answer is my mom. My mom is one of my biggest role models. She taught me dang near everything about life except for the part that my dad contributed. So we're together all the time. We're besties. So I definitely appreciate my mom. She's now my momager because she manages my schedule, the social media. A lot of times it's her. So if you DM us, it might be her or I responding. And my mom for sure, but like outside of my like immediate family, I'm really interested, in politics and government and stuff. So I'm inspired by Kamala Harris. I'm inspired by Robin Ruth Simmons and her work in our community. As I said before, I'm inspired by Chef Q too. Love her. I'm inspired by my boss, Kim Holmes Ross, who I work for, executive director of Cradle to Career. I'm inspired by so many people. I'm inspired by a lot of the female leadership of the NAACP here in Evanston. A lot of them have been mentors to me and supported me in my goals, and so I'm really appreciated for them. I mean, I really look up to almost every woman who has supported me, who I've gotten to know, just because, I think that every woman's story is inspiring. It doesn't have to be like the biggest thing in the world or impact thousands of people to matter. And so, they all teach me different things, and I learn different things from each of them, whether it be like whether it be feeding your community like Chef Q, or making a better future like Robin Rue, or just, helping out with youth or whatever it may be. A lot of my teachers. So yeah.
Yeah. You were honored for the chessman. Was Chef Q was honored that night as well, wasn't she, or no?
I believe so. She's honored at so many things that I can't keep up, but she probably was. She was definitely there.
Yeah. I think you guys were running a race as in awards.
Oh yeah, especially like the more predominantly black awards around here. Like
Yeah.
we're kind of a gang because there's a few of us that are always together. So get to know them pretty well. Yeah,
It is a
Tasha.
beautiful
I forgot Tasha. Tasha's a big inspiration to me too.
that
And her comrades in the Ox.
yeah.
But Tasha's also a member of the Girls Play Sports board. And I'm a member of the youth board. So there's some connection there. And I look up to everyone at GPS too. All the people who run the youth board and just the leadership of the organization as a whole, they're all great. And I look up to all of them. So.
Yeah. I just interviewed Tiffany yesterday, actually, which did the trilogy for me. So I got all the three founders of the Aux interviews. So um what does liberation look like for Black women?
That's a tough one. I think what liberation looks like for us is I think we're starting to see a bit of it now. I think, you know, I think this is going to sound so cheesy, but I think that, even with the most recently Beyonce entering into country music, I think that's an example of how Black women are so versatile and how many areas of the world that we can touch, and just having the freedom to choose what you want to do and what impact you want to make is so important to Black women. And being able to choose whatever career they want and finding success in that is so important. And the level of education that Black women are getting now, and I think we have the highest percentage of people entering college. I mean, it's just, getting that higher education degree is so important. So I think that that's definitely part of it. I think in the future it looks like us getting just as many opportunities, just as much funding, just as much respect as any other community. Like I said earlier, I don't think it takes any community to get less for others to get more. I think it takes all of us, equaling the playing field. So that's what it looks like for me.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, let's stay connected.